Let's talk about Science Note. Science Note is a digital whiteboard that allows a user to express math expression and get results right beside it. So let's say I want to write something like 7 plus 4. Immediately I write that with my pen, with a writing pen, or with my hand, depending on the device I'm using. I'm going to get a result right beside it, which in this case is 11. Now you may ask, why is this important? Why is this kind of note important? The reason is, this can help to speed up learning. So imagine you are solving a problem, and instead of every time you want to get the result evaluated, you have to pull up your calculator, you keep typing, you keep pressing. The Science Note can solve that. So you just express the math or the equation or whatever you want to express, and the software automatically evaluates it and show you the answer right beside it, so that you don't have to pull up your calculator to do any of such. Now, aside basic arithmetic operation, it does many other things, but let me just walk through some of these use cases. So let's say you are solving a problem in physics where you are told that an object starts from rest and it had an acceleration of, let's say, 10 meters per second square, and let's say it moved for like 5 seconds. And the question is, what's the final velocity? Now, you could easily do that, let's say, on your paper, then you use your calculator to do the math, and eventually you get the answer. But the Science Note can be very useful in this scenario where, in case you don't have any paper, you could just express everything within the Science Note and get your result. So I could do something like u equals 0, which means the object starts from rest. Then I will define the time which is t is 5 seconds. Then the acceleration is 10 meters per second square. Once I define all these variables, then I'll just calculate my final velocity as v equals u plus at. And once I just write v equals u plus at, it's going to automatically insert all the values into that equation and then tell me that the answer is 5 times 10, which is 50, plus 0, which still gives us 50. So that's what happens. So instead of you pulling out your calculator, doing some manual arithmetic, you just get to express the equation or the formula within the Science Note, and you get your results instantly. So that's just one use case. The other use case is the Science Note is very powerful in the sense that it can be used to visualize concepts in math. And this is a very important idea because if you just read a concept, your retention level may be anywhere from 5 to, let's say, 20%. But if you see a demonstration of that concept, it increases your retention level. And the goal of Science Note is to achieve that, because imagine I'm teaching you a concept like maybe graph in mathematics. What if I can demonstrate all of the concepts I'm talking about? Let's say I'm studying something like gradient of a line, or let's say of a curve. I could easily help you understand it by just expressing an equation, defining the gradient, and showing you what a gradient is and how the gradient changes depending on the position on the graph. So this idea is very powerful because it could help you to fully understand what you are learning by visualizing or seeing an animation of what you are learning. For example, in conic section under further math, you could learn the difference between a parabola, maybe hyperbola, and ellipse by just defining the equations within Science Note and animating the radius to see the effect of the radius or to see the effect of other parameters within the equation. So by seeing a demonstration of that concept, it helps you to have a proper understanding of what you are studying. So in summary, the Science Note takes your input as a drawing. So this is not just you typing. And you drawing out an equation is a better way to express math equation than typing, because typing something like a square root of a very complex number and with all sorts of fractions may be very daunting. But if you can write it, you can easily express it. And that's what the Science Note does. It allows you to write or draw out the equation, and then it takes care of the rest. And now let me talk about the effort that went into the Science Note. The effort is very robust. Like, the Science Note is powered by an AI system developed within TestDriller. So this is not a system coming from ChatGPT or some other external tool, because we want it to run offline. And in order to make it run offline, we've got to build our own machine learning model that takes your input as an image, whatever you've drawn as an image, and turns them into mathematical expression that can be interpreted by our math engine. So let me just give you a quick breakdown as to how the science note works behind this, just to make you appreciate the level of effort and research that went into this. So the first thing we did was to build an AI model that takes in an image containing math expression and then turns them into what is known as LaTeX, LaTeX. So what that means is, if you write an equation like 2 over 5, we transform it into something like bracket 2 and bracket 5. So what that means is, we take an image containing some math expression, we transform that into a text representation that can be interpreted by a math engine. So that's the first step. Now, to create this kind of model, it took us several years, at least about 2 years of research, but eventually we were able to pull it off in 2024. So let me just give you an idea into what the amount of research that went into it. We gathered about 300,000 images containing math equations. Then we built a transformer-based machine learning model that was trained to take in these images in batches and predict the corresponding LaTeX representation of that image. And we trained this with powerful computers containing powerful GPUs. And this ran for several months until we were able to fine-tune the model to be robust enough to handle various kinds of handwriting and various condition of lightning. So at the end of the day, we came up with a powerful model that is lightweight, but very effective in turning image containing math equation into LaTeX representation. So after solving that first problem, the next thing is we built a math engine that is capable of taking several LaTeX representation of math expression and then interpreting what variables are in that equation, interpreting what variable is known, what variable is unknown, and determining whether that particular expression should be solved. And once it determines that, it solves it and we render the answer right beside the expression. And this tells you the level of research that we do in TestDriller in producing this amazing software.